Welcome back to Living Passionately with Pat Brown. Today I have the pleasure of having Chennell and Dwayne Hall on the show with us. Chennell and Dwayne, they are a couple that are in business together, and they're going to share with us about their entrepreneurship journey and how couples can work together to create a successful business. So Chennell and Dwayne, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay.
Like, let's just be clear. It was not always a bed of roses. Dwayne and I, we've been together since 1998. We
Oh,
started dating in high school.
wow.
Just celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary early this year. So this January is going to be 21 years that we've been married.
Well, congratulations. I'm just thinking because you guys look so young. You look like, oh my goodness.
People often ask me if my parents had to sign the paperwork so I can get married.
I know, like this, you still owe your parents. But wow, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. We have 4 children together, our 18-year-old son, our 15-year-old daughter, our 6-year-old son, and our 4-year-old daughter.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
great. Okay. I wasn't aware of that. Awesome.
Yeah. So, but we always had a passion to work for ourselves.
Okay.
Remember when I was 10 years old, because my family is from Guyana,
Oh,
and I went to Guyana for the summer, and I was 10 at the time, and me and my 7-year-old cousin stood outside the house and sold fruits that we picked from the yard. Nobody bought it, but that's not the point. The
right,
point is we took a chance on ourselves and we
right,
we did it.
right.
So I always had the passion to
Mm,
start my own business. I always wanted to work for myself. So when Dwayne and I started dating, we got married. We just shared that common goal.
mhm.
So, we started working together, but we bumped heads a lot
Okay.
because no one really taught us how to run a business, let
Right,
alone how to run a business as a married couple.
right.
So I remember we had a t-shirt company, and it was like my brainchild. That was like our fashion. It was our fashion company.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I I'm speaking from an I perspective, right? I took lead on that because this was my brainchild. This was my project that I came up with. So I
Mhm.
took lead on a lot of things. And Dwayne would offer his input, at times. And we worked the business together, but we didn't know like who should lead when and who should, take a step back. So we fought a lot. I felt like, you're just trying to tell me what to do and you're trying to take over my project. And he's like,
Yeah,
it's our project. And I'm just like, no, it's my thing. And, I just didn't understand. I just didn't get
I
it.
started it. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. I didn't get what a partnership is supposed to look like. You understand in a marriage, but no one really teaches you what a partnership is supposed to look like in business. So in
Working.
the beginning, it was a lot of arguments in the beginning.
How did you guys, what,
Miss-
go ahead, Dwayne.
Now, to be fair, we were still young in our marriage, so
Mm-hmm.
we had to learn our roles in marriage. So how could we possibly have learned our roles as married people in business, right? So the
Oh,
more we
right.
learned as husband and wife, the easier it was to learn our roles in business.
Okay, so what did you guys do? And once you identify that that was an issue, what did you guys do to overcome those challenges?
You could answer.
Uh,
Yeah.
Great question. We had to identify our strengths and our weaknesses.
Okay,
Because
okay,
it's a team sport, right? And um, a team has one captain, but the captain is not good at everything.
correct. Yeah. So,
And a good captain knows how to delegate to the strengths of the team,
mhm.
right? So we just had to sit down and talk about it. What are your strengths? What are you good at? Chanel is good at everything organizational. When I tell you she's super structured in her organizational skills.
Mhm.
Um, social butterfly. So, making and networking and making connections, hence how me and you met, Pat, right?
Right.
That's another one of her strengths, right?
Yeah.
So with me, I love speaking. I love public speaking. I absolutely love it. I love mentoring. I love engaging people.
Mhm.
I love conversation or just good discourse, because there's a lot that I've learned in this lifetime, and I like to share and continue to learn more, share what can help people. So we just had to identify each other's strengths and use those strengths in, in the business capacity. Like, okay, well, you know, um, for instance, for our agency, I do most of the talking for the to the clients. Like, I enjoy doing it. It's easy for me.
Right.
But organizing the paperwork is it's
Mhm.
challenging for me, but Chanel gets that done so that together we can get the job done.
So did you guys ever work in different businesses or like in the corporate world, or did you just start it out with your business?
You want to answer that one, Miss Hall?
Yeah, great question. So, like I said, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 10.
Right.
I started doing hair when I was 12. Um, and then when we became adults, in 2000, we got married in 2003. 2007, we started our fashion company.
Okay.
In 2012, I think it was, we had the unisex um, beauty salon sometime around there.
Yeah, I think 13 somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah, we both worked corporate while we had these businesses, but the one thing that we were lacking was mentorship.
Okay.
We asked people, we were hungry for knowledge, so we reached out to people asking them, hey, can you mentor us and just guide us on what it is that we need to do? We weren't asking for a handout because Dwayne and I, we're hard workers. We're
Right.
going to put in the work to get the things that we need out of life. But we
Mhm.
just wanted somebody to guide us in the process because we didn't know what we were doing. And it
Mhm.
was very difficult to get
Right.
that back then. So in 2016, we found that mentorship that we were looking for
Mhm.
when we started our financial agency. And that's what really helped us to get that overall structure that we're looking
Mhm.
for. At that point, we both left corporate and started working our agency full time.
Okay.
And it's been an amazing journey having that support guiding you through, how to navigate business.
Mhm.
Because starting a business can be very challenging if you don't know what to do, what to look for, what components to put together. It's a lot of moving parts. And if you don't have someone guiding you through that process, it can be very frustrating, let alone adding two people into the mix and nobody's guiding you on, okay, who's going to take lead. And like Dwayne said, he may take lead, but at times we'll have a conversation on who takes lead when.
Okay.
There's
Mhm.
times when I might
Okay.
take lead because it's necessary, and there's other times where he'll take lead when necessary. But having a conversation, communicating that process is what helps, and just bringing our corporate structure
Yeah.
into our business that help. Because when you work a job, it's very structured.
Right.
You come in at a certain time, you do a certain thing at a certain time, certain days, everything is laid out for you. But when you bring that over into your business, you don't think that you just think it's a free for all. No, the company will bleed out money if
Mm.
you don't keep that same structure. So like
Right.
Dwayne said, I'm really good at organization. I'm
Mhm.
also really good at interpersonal relationships.
Okay.
So
Yes.
building relationships with people, connecting with them. That's my superpower. So,
Mhm.
I focus on that a lot. I present when I need to, I sit with clients when I need to, but
Mhm.
for the most part, Dwayne takes lead on that now. In the beginning, I did it. And then along the way, we kind of switched roles and I took more of a behind the scenes while he led the dance.
I gotta throw it in there. One day Chanel told me that she had moved too far away from, being able to mom the way that she wants to, homeschool it because we homeschool our children, so she was like she was moving too far away for that. She wanted to get back to it. So we had a conversation about, all right, what's the most time intensive parts of our businesses? I'm going to take care of those parts, right?
Mhm.
So that frees up her time now to mom more, and just, be a wife. and she enjoys that, right? But we also enjoy, the lifestyle that being business owners, some would consider successful business owners, you know, we enjoy that life that provides. So just
That
it's
was going
finding a balance.
right. That was going to be my question about, the communicating bit, because I am sure that you guys probably do a lot of communicating to get the balance and to make it work, right? Because communication is key in anything that we're doing. So how do you, like, suppose there is you don't agree on something, how do you communicate? Well, this, I don't agree to this, I don't agree to that, or should we do it this way? How do you do that?
You want to answer, or you me?
I,
I
I
could.
guess we can go first, and I'll go next because
The
we
gentleman.
do it.
So, again, if you identify who's taking lead in the business, then ultimately that person is going to always have the final say. However, your input is still very necessary and very needed.
Mhm.
So if there's things that is going on in our business that I don't agree with, or I may have questions with, I'll voice those concerns. Hey, you know what? I was looking at this, and I think that maybe if we did it this way, that might be better. Matter of fact, just this morning we had that conversation, or I think last night, and he's like, well, I think the way we're doing it works because, and then he went ahead to explain why he thinks the way that we're doing it works.
Okay.
And I said, in the moment, I didn't really 100% agree, but I saw his point. So I was like, okay. And then it just kind of was left where it was. But there's times when I strongly disagree and I'm just like, ah. But, it's about following leadership, because when you're at a job, if your boss tells you to do this, whether you agree or not, you do it. But,
Yes.
we kind of blur those lines when it's our spouse. If it's a spouse that's taking lead, you have to look at them as their boss. On Monday, it was Dwayne's birthday. Happy birthday.
Birthday again.
And so I made a post on Facebook and it said today is my boss's birthday.
Right. Yeah.
Like, because we're partners, but because he take lead, he's technically my boss.
Right.
And I'm okay with that.
I guess in addition to the communication piece, then respect is also very important, right? Because you might think, well, we have these things in our society or our culture where, well, I don't want to be submissive. Like, that's my husband. I'm not, always going to agree, or and things like that. So how do you, again, like, balance, like, if you don't totally agree with it, or Dwayne, I should say, do you ever feel like, well, my wife doesn't agree, but I'm doing it this way because I think this is the way to do it?
It happens sometimes. It's I would say the lesser of times, that those situations might occur because I guess we've been doing it so long, we kind of know how to mesh with each other, for the most part, right? But every now and again, it may be a situation where I always respect her input, Chanel's input. I always respect her input because I know she's seeing the things that I can't see, right? We both got two different powers. She can see the immediate, I can see the long term, right? So as I'm staring us to the long term destination, she's watching to make sure we don't get hit by icebergs, right? So there's times where I might say, you know what, I hear your concern. It's a valid concern, but in this situation, I'm making a decision to do this.
Okay.
Right. And I don't mind explaining, right? And because XY, she may not agree with it in those rare times, but she respects it. She's like, okay, like I know she doesn't agree because she had a different opinion, right? I get it, and we just do something else. And it happens because like sports, right? I look at it like sports. We look at it as sports. The captain of the team isn't always going to make the play that you want. But the
Mm-hmm.
captain of the team is always looking to get the ring that both you and the captain are going to wear.
Right, right,
Right.
right.
So even if it's not necessarily my way, it's
Mm-hmm.
okay. As long as it's a way to get to the destination.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I guess that's what's important to know, that at the end of the day, you're both on the same team and you're looking at the final destination or whatever the goal is that you're trying to achieve together as a team, that you focus on that, and that the fact that you both know that you can trust each other, you're doing the right thing to make sure that you reach those goals that you're working on. So that's awesome.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
to answer what you said, you know, there might be some wives that feel that they don't want to have to be submissive to their husband
Mhm.
in business, something along that line you said. It's
Yeah.
not about a wife having to be submissive to her husband.
Mhm.
It's about, like Dwayne said, it's about running the play. For example, we have another business where we provide children entertainment and party services.
Okay.
Now, I take lead on that business.
Right.
And because I take lead, I get the final say. I
Got-
take his input. Now, he's not sitting here like, oh, well, I got to be submissive to my wife. It's not about being submissive to your husband or your wife. It's
Right.
being coachable and being a team player for the
Mm.
team, because
Mhm.
ultimately we're doing this for the team so
Right.
that we can bring home the bag, right?
Right.
Which is the
Right.
money. That's why we're doing this. So we can bring home the money. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's about just running the play and just, following the coach.
Right. I guess
And
that.
there's, oh, I'm sorry, Pat, go
No,
ahead.
you go ahead. You go ahead, Dwayne. Go ahead.
I was saying there's nothing, look, ego out the way. Egos will leave you broke,
Ego.
right?
Yes.
Ego
Yes.
broken lonely. Okay. So if you don't want to be broken only with your ego, then put your ego in your back pocket, right?
Yeah.
It's okay in that business. That is Chanel's strength.
Mhm.
Like social butterfly. So who should be, doing more, engaging in the children's business than it? I'm not that bubbly. Right?
That's
Nice person,
your strength.
that bubble that she has, right? So
Yeah.
like that, I submit to her lead. It's her business. I offer input, and a good thing is this too, right? If everyone needs to feel appreciated, everyone needs to feel important to some
Right.
degree,
Mhm.
right? I can speak for myself as a man. I know I need to lead. I
Mhm.
have, it's in my nature, it's in my hardwiring, right? And if I'm not leading, I start to feel less than my purpose.
Right.
Now, that's our family business, but Chanel leads that.
Right.
And if I want to get my lead on, right, and that's her strength, then I can find another project to lead on. It's okay. There's
Mm.
there's there's more than enough in the world for us both to be leaders in our own projects, right?
Right.
It's okay.
Right.
And to also add, there's times when we had employees that worked with us.
Mhm.
And because I dealt with them on a daily basis, when it was time for me to let one of them go, I
Mhm.
could have done it, but why? So, he loves structure and all that stuff. So I allowed him to lead that part, right? So he was able to go in and, and let her go. And, he has military background, security background. So he
Yeah.
was able to escort her off the premise. I mean, it didn't get nasty or anything like that, but
Right.
he was able to
I
step in his
understand.
power and do that part that he does well.
Right. Right.
I
Yeah.
kind of felt bad and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad,
Yeah. The
whatever.
emotional
And
side. Yeah. The
yeah,
emotional.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was
Yeah.
able to, and he was able to handle it. So, I didn't have to. And
Right.
that is equally as important as the other things that I do, because you still need structure. Actually helped, he provided the structure in that business.
Mhm.
Because I'm a creative, so I'm just like pulling things from all over the place and I'm just doing all these things. And he's
Your
like, okay,
ideas.
let's structure
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, how about we narrow it down and do this, put it
Yeah.
in these parameters. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So, equally important.
That's awesome. Dwayne, may I ask, did you like see like I know you said you had to get like mentoring and stuff like that, but did you, the way you are, and I've heard you speak a few times, and I like the way you guys bounce off of each other. And my question is, because a lot of times our Black males, they're missing a father figure and having someone to set that example. Were you in a situation where you were led, or say your father had someone, was there someone that guided you to be that person that you are today?
Um, there were a few people, a few people. My father, I love my dad. I grew up with my mom, and me personally, I didn't build a strong relationship with him until my teenage years. And one thing about my dad that I love him to death for, God rest his soul, was that he never was ashamed of me ever. No matter what mistakes I made in life, he
Mm-hmm.
stood up and was
Okay.
like, "That's my."
Okay.
And he always talked to me from a place of love and understanding. Never really so much an authoritarian, like where he's a strict disciplinarian or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
He was always in conversation.
Okay. Okay.
Um, Now, I was blessed that my dad never immigrated to the United States like I did with my mom. So up here, I was able to, God is good. He put older men in my life
Okay.
that were able to help guide me in key areas of my life. Like there was one of my mentors, he's still alive to this day. His name is Jerry. Older guy, met me when I was like 18, 19. And he was the one that was like, "What are you doing? Get out the hood. Go marry your girlfriend before somebody else get her." Right?
Right.
Like he was like, "Go to the army, you like all that tough guy stuff. Well, go be tough and get paid for it."
Oh, wow.
Right. And he kind of helped me in making those decisions. My friends thought I was crazy getting married at 22,
Mm-hmm.
but I know what I didn't want. I might not have known how to get what I wanted, but I know what I didn't want. I
Right.
didn't want to grow up, without mom and dad in the home together.
Right.
Um, so I was going to take all the steps to do those things. And looking at Jerry, I saw Jerry raising his kids with his wife. Um, my dad, he wasn't married to my mom, but he always took care of me. You
Okay.
understand? He always took care of his children. Very present. Big events, he would always show up. So yeah, to answer the question, there were men in my life, and then of course I did 8.5 years in the military, so there's strong male presences all through that
Yeah.
experience, right?
Right.
So I get some good guidance. But listen, at the end of the day, when people want to know how do me and Chanel function the way we function, I say this: therapy and communicate. Therapy and communicate.
Therapy
Therapy,
and communicate.
communicate. However you grew up that way. To you, that seems right.
As
However, I grew up to me, that seems right. Unless you get a third party in there to bring balance and context,
yeah.
then it's like, oh, we just fighting to see who's right all the time, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes you need somebody outside the box to comment and say, "Hey, look, it's not an argument. It's not a either or. It's an and,
Right.
right?"
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's just my response to your question. There's been a lot of good men that have poured into me, and therapy and communication, that too.
Therapy and communication. Therapy and communication. Yeah, that's awesome, because a lot of our people are so resistant to therapy. So I love it when I hear that people have sought therapy to help in their life, whatever they might be going through. I love therapy. I tell you.
Oh, therapy, I say this all the time. Therapy saved our marriage.
Yeah. That
Numerous
Therapy
times.
saved, and I'm talking about personal therapy. I
mhm.
went to therapy and it saved me, which helped to save our marriage.
Wow, that's awesome. I did too. But I took like a really long time before I finally said, like, I need help. I
Mhm.
can't continue to make the same mistakes over and over, because what is the common denominator here? And it was,
Ooh, accountability, Pat.
oh yeah.
That's a rare.
Yeah, I'm big on accountability. So it's like you need a change, I've been blessed with an awesome daughter. I had to change because of her, I wanted things to be better for her. And there were mistakes that I made that affected her life. So I did not plan on keeping this going. Like, no, I got a nip and I'm still learning. Yeah, therapy and communication. I learned it later in life, but it has saved me too.
Absolutely.
Cheers. Yeah, definitely. So great. I just wish like a lot more people would get therapy, you know what I mean? Instead of they don't realize they keep repeating the cycle and how it affects your children, and it could affect your children's children. And we want to change things for the better.
Mhm.
For the better.
Absolutely.
Break those
Yeah.
curses, because you know, the era that I grew up in, and I'm pretty sure you're familiar with that, Pat, is that, parents didn't necessarily communicate effectively with the children. They communicated with that belch or that switch or,
Mhm.
whatever it is it was going it was gonna
Whatever they
discipline.
can find. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
effective was never developed. It was more like a bully system. If I am the strong one, you're gonna do what I tell you to do.
Mhm. Yeah.
The problem with communication is that you're not gonna remain the strong one.
Right.
No matter who you are, you're not gonna remain the strong one. And when that balance shifts, then you've lost all credibility to the person that you were subjugating.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
And we do
Mhm.
this in cycles, and especially in the Caribbean community, we do this in cycles. The parents, they beat the children, they beat the children, they beat the children. The children get to an age where now you can't beat me no more, but now you've also lost credibility with me. Now
Yeah.
you can't tell me nothing because you were my oppressor. Now I'm free. Now me and you have a adversarial type relationship,
Right.
but it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
I don't have a relationship with my children, because I went to therapy and I realized I don't want to repeat that generational curse. I got to be the change,
Exactly.
So we talk.
I
I
love
don't
it.
always they what their position is, but I respect the fact that they told it to me, and it opens the door where I can offer input and guidance, right? So we
Right.
can communicate,
Right.
and then leave the choice up to them to say, all right, well, I trust that dad, he's going to tell me hit the best way he knows how to
Mm-hmm.
deal with the situation. May
Right.
not be the best in the world, but at least I can trust that what he's telling me is coming from a place of love.
Exactly. Tell us about your businesses. So you guys have different businesses, and also how you can help. Do you guys coach couples in business?
Yes, we do. We do that through more so through our financial side of the business, because we are always hiring. We particularly like to work with other couples.
Mm-hmm.
Single people can work with us, but we particularly like working with other couples. And
Okay.
in that process of them working with us with our financial business, we teach them, we coach them on working together and how to make it functional.
Okay. Sounds
Yes.
great. Sounds great.
Yes.
That's your main business, is coaching couples in the financial industry on working together. And
Yeah.
then
So our
Yep.
main business is the financial service business. Yeah.
I'm passionate about that business because it has affected our lives so much, right? Just learning how to get free. Like I remember the times when me and Chanel had 9 to 5 jobs. And I remember how it sucked. I mean, I'm just being transparent. We
yeah.
hardly had enough together. It seemed like we were always living paycheck to paycheck. You
Mm-hmm.
know, back then the children were in, public school, and it just felt like going through the motions but never getting a reward,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it just like Groundhog Day, day after day after day, year after year, same thing. And that is just freed up enough of our time that now we get to do the things we're passionate about, spending time together as a couple, spending time together as a family, pouring back into the community, teaching other couples how to get free,
Mm-hmm.
right? Our last two children when they were home births, you know, and we had a doula and a midwife. Just the experience of life gets so amazing once you start to get free, right? You
Mhm.
get to, instead of just surviving. So that's my 2 cents about that business. As you can see, I'm passionate about it because it
Yeah.
allows us to share that with somebody else.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So if we have other couples in business that are watching and I'm sure are in need of your coaching services, how could they reach you?
So they can reach us at Calendly. So
Say-
it's calendly.com/Dwayne Hall. So it's CALENDLY.com
Mhm.
/Dwayne DWAYNEHALL.
Oh,
You can also give us a call at 516-399-4509. That's 516-399-4509.
awesome. So this is great. I will also add that information in the description of the video because we really want to spread the word that it is possible. It's so great to see you guys. I've listened to you on Clubhouse and I just love the excitement and the flow. And that's why I really wanted to have you all on this show. And I was funny enough, I was thinking about you, right? And I was trying to think, how can I get them? Like I got to go through Clubhouse. And you wouldn't believe this, Chanel. I saw the birthday greeting on Instagram and I could not believe it. Like the next day, I was thinking I'll be on Sunday, right?
Wow.
How can I find this couple to talk? Because I'm always thinking, who can I have on the show next? And then the next day, it popped up on Instagram, the
Wow.
You
birthday
got
greetings. And I was like, you've got to, it's like, okay, that's my answer. I mean, things just fall into place like that and nothing happens by coincidence. So
Wow.
I'm really excited to have you guys on here because, you know, we're about entrepreneurship. I know couples that are in business, sometimes they struggle, they can't work together. The wife is trying to run the business as her business and the husband is offering his advice and they just keep clashing and they care about each other. They want to work together, but you know, somebody wants to be the leader, you know, that type of stuff. And I want to say that it is possible. And I really appreciate you guys coming on here. I mean, 21 years of marriage and still looking like teenagers. You guys got to be doing something right. So, congratulations. And those 4Ks, I wish you guys continued success on your journey. And again, I'm just really excited to have you. And thank you for taking the time out. And again, to reach Chennell and Dwayne, you can reach them at 516
399-4509 or calendly.com/Dwayne Hall to, just book some time with us.
Awesome. And then just one last question, like what advice would you say in one sentence, both of you, would you give to couples that want to work in business, something that how they can make it work?
Take your ego out of it and understand that there's one team, one dream.
Awesome. I love that. Mr.
all
Hall.
right. I would say there's no I in team. Make the success of the business bigger than any one person.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for being on Living Passionately with Pat Brown. Greatly appreciate it. And I'll talk to you real soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.